Hi, this is Natalie, the Vintage Cross Stitch Niche, bringing you a video. I am going to do a tutorial about how to make a finish with a hand-sewn edge, just like many of the old samplers were. This looks really nice mounted. This is by the Pin Keep. It's called Pledge of Allegiance, by the way. This was done on dirty linen, but I did do a little dip and soak in some coffee and then rinsed it afterward, just to give it a little bit more antique. Not that bad. I did not do any sort of baking on this. I just wanted to give it a little bit of a coffee flavor. But anyway, you want this not to look all cockeyed. You want this to look, you know, pretty neat. And the hand stitching does make it look really prim. And the hand stitching is going to be imperfect, but you just don't want things to be not square. Your corners, for example, you want them to be square. So I'll show you an easy way of doing this. It's simple, 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 easy, pretty much foolproof, and hopefully it works for you. I don't have a piece ready to go, so I just have this fake piece. First thing you're going to do is you're going to cut down whatever you're going to do, just to have it reasonable so it's not difficult to work with, not difficult to pull the strings. And you need a little ruler, and you have to decide how big a margin do you want. And you always have to go to the last piece. So in other words, the last stitch. So the stitch that's closest to the edge is where you're going to measure from. These are all pretty even. Maybe this one's a little closer to the edge on this side. Otherwise they're pretty even. This one's a little closer to the edge on that side. So you're going to measure. You're going to decide what kind of margin you want, and then you're going to double it. So let's say we want a 1/2 inch margin. You're going to measure 1 inch. Now, you don't have to actually put a mark on here, but of course if you put a mark with a pencil, it makes it a little easier. I'm looking for I just had a bunch of needles, but I have some in this container. The Vintage Cross Stitch Niche, I try to repurpose, and I found this at a thrift store. Isn't it pretty for needles? And I just put a bunch of needles in here. It fits perfect, or it's the right size. Anyway, so just go 1 inch off the edge, and you have to pull a thread. Make sure this is facing you when you pull it. You don't want to pull the thread going the wrong way. Sometimes these threads are tricky. I don't have my magnifier on now. But sometimes these threads are tricky to pull if you've got a linen, which is sort of stubborn. But again, we're pulling 1 thread, mainly to give you, I'll show you what you're doing, pulling 1 thread. This one is hard. I think I have 2 threads, that's why, but that's okay. Let's see. I want to get something in here. The linen I did with the Pin Keep piece wasn't this hard. This is very thick linen. I don't know why it's hard to pull, but it is. Okay, but we're just going to keep pulling, because you want a nice line. Okay. You can put your finger in here. You can I usually just put the scissor in here. It just gives me a little more leverage. Okay. And before you know it, you've pulled the thread. Okay. You have pulled the thread. I cut each time because the smaller the pieces, the easier it is to pull the thread. Okay. So now you have a perfect line. Let's do this on this side here. Again, I would face the piece towards you. I think it's easier to pull. Make sure you're pulling the thread going the right way. Otherwise, you really messed it up. And we'll do an inch from here. Oop. Let's see if I could just get under here. There we go. I only want one thread. I really have to go get my magnifyers. Here we go. Okay. Try not to break it like I just did. Anyway, cut it. The smaller the piece is, the easier it is to pull the thread, just FYI. Big, long pieces, it can be challenging. This, for whatever reason, this particular piece is a really stiff piece of old linen. It's just hard. Let's do, I always look and see let's do this sides. Again, find the most lateral or the outside edge. Okay. And pull. This might ruin your pin, or you might want to use a thicker pin. I just used whatever I grabbed. Okay. And let's see. There we go. Okay. Let's cut that. Oop. Okay. And let's do one more side. Again, I just tend to face whatever I'm doing at the top. It's just my convention. I think they're about the same. So let's just do this. Okay. Towards the middle is better, but it ultimately doesn't matter. You have to do it off of something. Okay. If you are 1 or 2 threads off, it doesn't matter. You'll never, ever see it. Okay. You'll never see it. Okay, so we're pulling this thread. You have a line. Okay. Next, okay. Believe it or not, this is even, but we're going to double check it. Let's make sure. This is the most lateral. It's an inch. On this side, it's an inch. The most lateral is over here. It's an inch. Most lateral is be here. It's about an inch. This side is a little bit longer, so I'm just gonna pull a thread just to, okay, just to have it, I mean, it was just slight. So as you can see, okay, there we go. All right, believe it or not, this is even. It may not look even because remember, you're doing it from the most lateral piece, and if you have like a sampler or something that's got writing that goes to the edge, you know, out a little bit more, then it's going to look like you have a lot more, but it's not. Okay, so you're going to work off of one side. This is going to be your fold, and where you're going to work every other side off of this. So I think I like that fold. You have to measure, again, how far out you just went from the most lateral. This is, oh, good. It's about, let's see, a 1/2 inch, a little bit. It's actually 1, 2, 3, it's 4/8. No, not 4/8. 1, 2, 3/8. So it's 3/8. There's a little piece. There we go. So 3/8. We're going to do 3/8 all around. Basically, all you need to do is one and match the other ones up. Okay, here's my needle. Be nice if I had a pin. Would like something thicker. Here we go. Here's a pin. Okay, this is going to be your fold. So grab one. Oh, goodness gracious. That did not. It only came off of one side, but that's okay. Okay. Like I said, I should have used a different fabric. I should have restarted this. Okay. We'll just pull another one because for whatever reason that tore a little bit. Didn't tear, but it. Pull one next to it. Okay, there we go. Okay. Now, this you're not going to cut. This is where you're going to fold. And that's going to be a perfect fold. That's where you're going to fold. Let's measure again because everything else is going to go off of that. And let's say you pulled a little bit off. That's okay. You just have to arrange the others. So this is, it's 3/8. Okay. So let's go to the other side. Let's measure 3/8 and pull. Okay, if you've got 2 there, pull the outside one. You can always take another thread off. Okay. This is a really hard linen to pull. There we go. Okay. We've got our next fold. Let's do this one. Okay, about 3/8. There we go. Like I said, it's approximate because you're talking, you'll never know the difference. Okay. There you go. There's another fold and one more. As you can see, this doesn't take very long. One more. Okay. Like I said, try to get the lateral one if you have 2. Okay, there we go. All right, let's just measure again. 3/8, 3/8, 3/8. Let me make sure. 3/8. 3/8. Okay, now you're ready to sew. You're going to use the thread off of your excess linen. The problem with this, let's get the longest piece. You're going to have to keep using it. You need a whole piece. It's going to come off the edge, but of course you need as long a piece as possible. So there's some, don't use any of those teeny scragglies. Here we go. Okay. Let's see if I have a needle in here that'll work, that I can thread. Okay. Let's see if I can see. I may have to go get my magnifier. No, I got it. Okay. I do use a waist knot. I put a knot here. Okay. I put a knot here. And remember, you're going to fold on where you hold the thread so that you've got a nice little fold there. It's perfect. You can pin this if you want, you can press this, or you can do nothing. I'm going to choose to do nothing. So I'm going to do a waist knot. My waist knot's going to be over here. Again, this is going to get folded over, so we don't care. Okay. I'm just going to attach it. And of course, it's shredded, so let's get another one. Now I could just use white thread for this if this is not going to work, and it may not because it's just, this linen is funky, but let's just try that again. There was no reason for that to happen. Okay. Let's get a good piece. Let's see if this works. Once again, if there's something not right, if it's shredding, whatever, just get a matching thread. On the pin keep one, I used, this is really good quality linen. It's the Weigart, like I said, dirty linen. I used some of that thread and it worked fine. I'm not sure about this one, but we'll find out. So I use a waist knot. So I just put, I'm just going to put that there. Okay, so that did not. Okay, you're going to work on your right side. I'm going to be back. I have to get my magnifiers. I'm back. Okay, so here's where you just have to think about what you're doing. I try to stitch, I actually count how many, stitches, or try to get in the middle. It's not marked, but you see your lines, because now you're in your pieces. Oh, I didn't want that. So let's get about the middle. We'll start, and I hope you can see, just go across, and you've got your line, because again, you're now stitching in your place. Okay, so stitch across. Now let's say you want to do a Christmas piece or something like that. You may decide that you want to do a coordinating thread. Thread just came out. This thread is not good, but yes, I'm a thread licker. Yes, I am. Suppose I can keep some water here and just do the same. Trying to get across with this thread. It's not always easy. You can use some embroidery floss too. Okay. But, just go across. Just go across. Okay. I don't know why that's doing that. There we go. Okay, just go across. Yeah, this is difficult thread. But that's okay. We'll just do it. We'll suck it up. But again, you know where you're going, and all your other sides are going to be based on this side. Okay. So however many stitches you're doing from the end is what you're going to do on all four sides. Okay. And you can do big stitches, little stitches. I suppose you can do this. There's some hand stitch on my sewing machine. I suppose you can do this on the sewing machine with your sewing with really wide stitches. I think doing this like they would have done years ago is the best way. Okay, so we're we're just going across. Okay. Oh, and that's now no good. So I'm just going to end it on this side. Let's see if we could pull this through and end it. Okay. See? We'll just get a new one. This is going to be tedious because this thread A is not fun to stitch with. It's much easier if you have a better linen, but just end it. I just usually pull it through underneath. Of course, you don't want to go on the good side, you're just on the folded side, and just pull this through. You're ending it. Okay, make sure you didn't go on the good side. No, I didn't. Okay, there. So you see I've ended it. Okay. Anyway, you're going to do this on all 4 sides. I guess I'll do it with you. Why not? Let's see if we can get some more of this thread. And you can even do it with bad thread because this is not easy thread to work with. I don't know what the heck is with this linen, but it's just very hard to work with. Maybe it isn't linen, maybe it's some sort of blend. I don't know, but I just had an extra piece. Much easier with bigger pieces and with good quality, like a Zweigart base or a Zweigart linen, or even a wide shelf is fine. Okay, so we need a waist knot. I'm just going to put our waist knot here, just anchor it somewhere, and we're going to continue in our line. Okay, there we go. Okay, continue in our line. And go across. Okay, make sure you are in the line you're supposed to be. If not, you got to pull it out. Pretty much am. And I think you get the idea. You certainly could do a bunch like that if you just want to guesstimate it. Okay, go across all the way to the end here. Okay? All the way to the end. I think I'm just going to guesstimate it. Okay? All right, which you could. So again, I'm going to wait. I'm going to end this. I'm going to anchor it in here. Oh. Let's anchor it. Cut the end off. So we'll anchor. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. So we want to anchor it underneath, just like that. That's all you have to do. You only need one knot at the end. You don't need to knot this. Okay. So now I have one side done. See? Next, you're going to do the opposite side. So I'm just going to quickly do this one because I'm not going to sit there and follow. I'm just going to guesstimate it. If you want to measure, you want to measure how far you did from one side so that the sides are even. It's going to be along this crease. That is a free thread. So what I'm going to do is push it through to the other side. There we go, so that it's underneath. Like I said, you'll never see it. Just pull it through. There we go. Okay. All right, so let's measure. Okay. Let's measure, and then I'm just going to guesstimate it, which you can do too, because this, again, this is prim. This is prim. So it just has to be about even, or you can be very precise and make it extremely even. I have pieces done both ways. I just got to get this. I find it hard to thread white thread on my needle. Make a fresh end. Okay. Oh, goodness gracious. The reason I like this real time is you can see exactly how long it's going to take. I can't even thread this right now. There we go. Thread this, and then of course you need a waist knot. These are short pieces of thread, so we'll make it short. All right, so again, you want to do the opposite side. Don't go on this side, go on the opposite side. Anchor this somehow. Okay. All right, now you want to decide where you're going to do your line, even if it's guesstimated. And let's see. That is it's about halfway, so it's about 1.5 eighths. Okay, so let's see. It's about in the middle here. So again, we're just going to guesstimate it. I'm just going to do this real quick, guesstimating. Okay, as you can see, I'm just going down the line. Time's sake. Usually I don't do this actually because I want it to be even as possible, but this is going to be, there's nothing wrong with doing this way actually, as long as you're not that far off, because you'd hate to have it look really crooked. Because these are little stitches you're going to see. You can do big stitches, you can do little stitches, whatever makes you happy. Okay, and as you can see, that's pretty quick. It usually is pretty quick, actually. This goes very quick. Okay, so we're all the way to the other end. Okay, and we somehow have to end this. So I'm going to just weave it underneath. Weave it underneath, only on one side. Of course, you don't want to go through. Okay, and there you go. It's fine. Okay, cut the loose end. Next to sides, just fold them over. The only tricky thing is you want to make sure that this isn't dog-eared. You don't want it to look like that, okay? So you can pin this, you can press this, or you can just do it with your hand, which is what I'm doing, okay? So this is harder than you're actually gonna do, because A, this is white, and white I think is harder, and B, this is just, like I said, a difficult thread to work with. I'm already getting shreds. Let's see if I can even, okay. Let's do this. Make a waist knot. My waist knot, what I usually do when I'm on this side is I usually try to make my waist knot in a way that sort of tacks this in place. Okay, let's go through. go through. You want to go through approximately, which is really in the middle, so I'm just going to guesstimate the middle here. And we'll keep sewing. Let's see how far I can go in the middle. But like I said, if you want to be precise, you know how to do it. You sew it along your, you measure exactly, and you sew it along your lines. Okay. And I'm not being precise, but that's okay. All right. Now your corners are not dog-eared. All right. Let's finish this. Oh, of course it came out. Let's finish this. Oh my gosh, this is so hard to work with. Probably should have gotten a bigger eye needle. Well, this is a scrap piece, so again, I showed you how to, here we go. You want to just weave this underneath, making sure you're not getting, you don't want to get your actual piece, you just want to weave that on the underneath so that it's ended. Okay, now you have one more. Don't worry if the ends are coming off, doesn't matter, these ends are being folded over anyway. You don't have to really do anything with these, just make sure you have a big enough margin, so to speak. Once again, this is hard to work with. It's white. And it's shredding. If you're using good quality linen, you're not going to have these issues that I'm having. Okay, there we go. Hopefully this will stay in place. Again, one knot, that's it, a waist knot. That's all you need. Okay, and we have to make sure we're not dog-earing, so you want to start yours over here. You don't want to go through either, so just, there we go. Okay, we're just sort of tacking that and putting our waist knot there. And we have to decide where to go. We're just going to go halfway, like I said. Usually I measure this, but you don't have to. We're just about halfway. And for your prim pieces, this is absolutely the way to go because they don't have to be even. They really don't. Okay. Okay. I'll show you a prim piece that's uneven, that I did on purpose, uneven. Okay. Okay, there we go. You don't want this dog-eared. Make sure that's sort of tucked in. Okay. And when you go underneath and you do your waist knot, you're going to make sure that's pulled in a little bit so it's not dog-eared. That annoys me to no end. I've done that before. In fact, I have one piece that got framed like that. I was very annoyed. But it's my lesson learning. I came up with doing this technique through trial and error. Again, we're going to run our thread just through that back part. Okay, there you go. We're done. So you're going to press this, of course. Isn't that nice? nice and neat. Now, you see how this particular piece, like I said, this is not great linen, but it is sort of see-through, and you can see that. If you put some batting behind this, you'll never see it, and that's what I would do. I do that in general to hide my extra threads, but as you can see, you've got these perfect corners, okay, or near perfect. See, that's how you know you're putting a thing on it. It's near perfect. It's not perfect, but it's near perfect. But you know that your folds are perfect because we measure them all, okay? And you will end up, like I said, with a piece like this. Follow the directions. Now, I'm just going to show you one more piece. Hold on. These are very prim pieces, as you can see. And this one, actually, hold on, wanted to get you some examples of some finished pieces besides this one, okay? So, this is by Not Forgotten Farm, and this is done that way. I didn't really pay attention to what I was doing on this one. I just sort of winged it, and then I put it on this fabric and put it on this board. This is a super prim one. Once again, I did this really unevenly, but it sort of was on purpose. It was so prim, and this is by the Primitive Needle. This is by Kathy Barrick. This is pretty even. And one, I'll show you what a sampler can look like. This sampler is hemmed, I hope you can see it, and then mounted. And that's what a sampler looks like. I hand dyed this fabric, by the way. And that's what a sampler looks like when it's hemmed and framed. Sorry for the reflection. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And be well. Bye-bye.